Hello everyone. I'm doing a first impressions on this Tesoro Lobera Supreme fully illuminated keyboard. This is a first impression, not a review. The review will be for later. I'm still doing some testing on this keyboard. This is just what I think of it. This is, I don't know how many takes, but I got some feedback from some people on like what they would like to see on this first impressions, and now I'm actually doing it. This is in full the Tesoro Lobera Supreme fully illuminated mechanical gaming keyboard. I'd like to add to that fully illuminated or fully colored illuminated keyboard. It's multicolored. It doesn't just come in one color. A lot of them just come in one color. For this company, for the Tesoro company that's doing peripherals, there's a lot of peripheral companies out there. There's a lot of companies that are making mechanical keyboards now. There's a lot of gaming companies out there making mechanical keyboards. I think one thing that Tesoro is kind of doing, or one thing that they're bringing to the light, is that a lot of mechanical gaming keyboards are coming out, and what they're doing is they're specializing in the functionality of the keyboard, and that's great. That's something that needed to be done. But they're specializing in how the keyboard works, ghosting, response time, all that kind of stuff. But they're kind of removing and not touching base anymore on actual niches that made gaming keyboards. And there are companies out there. I'm not going to say there's not a lot of companies out there. There are companies out there, and even the mainstream companies are trying to bring that stuff back. But I think Tesla is trying to do that a little bit sooner than the rest of the game. A lot of the functions that the rubber dome keyboards started to see, that you started seeing those rubber dome keyboards, and it was really starting to get all over the place with LCDs on the keyboards, multiple lanes of macro keys, multiple lanes of switchable keys, hot switch keys, multi-illuminate keyboards, of course, as a given, modular rubber dome keyboards, just really out there forms of keyboards. While with mechanical keyboards, especially in the gaming industry, we're just finding just a lot of mechanical keyboards, and you could even get a business grade mechanical keyboard and consider that to be a gaming keyboard, because there's not much difference in the two. But this is trying to bring that back, trying to pull itself really into a gaming league. My first impressions of this keyboard were, the first thing I realized is that this keyboard is a really pretty keyboard. It's a really flamboyant or really feminine type keyboard. And I don't want to say that in a really girly sense. This isn't a girly keyboard by any means, but I think this is a keyboard that's definitely geared towards the person who is looking for a keyboard that is heavy on aesthetics and not just functionality. They're not there just to have a black keyboard that doesn't have anything on it. This has illuminated LEDs on the side. Again, it's fully illuminated, meaning that it's not just the keys, but also these little function keys that also always have an illumination on them. The Tesoro logo is repeated up here. Their company name is repeated down here, as well as multiple other places on the keyboard where you get this Tesoro logo. The actual build quality, even though this keyboard is plastic, you still get that metal brush finish. You get this pressed steel finish right down here. So it's trying to look very, very appealing. You have a really thick braided cable back here. Nothing thin at all. I mean, I know there's companies out there that really you don't really necessarily need a braided cable. You could just give a nice thin braided cable or plastic cable. But this really thick, really pretty looking braided cable, and this protective piece on the other end to protect the end from being able to be ripped. It's really thick and really has that nice finish on it. So overall, this is really pretty keyboard. This is a keyboard that if you're putting into your workplace or into your gaming place, is designed to appeal to that look. It's, oh wow, what keyboard is that? And I think they do a really good job at that. I'm not going to talk about, before I was talking about how much I didn't like mechanical keyboards on a mechanical level, not the keyboards themselves. I'm not going to actually talk about that, maybe later on a personal note, but I'm just going to actually talk about the function of this keyboard. This is a cherry brown. They have multiple keyboards, each keyboard having a different set of cherry switches. This particular one is cherry brown. You can kind of hear that from the sound there. It gives you that nice thud. And it works well. It works really well. I've been using it on a few games to get into that review, and I really like the feel feel of it. It's not cumbersome at all. You know, it's not like the chiclet keys for those laptop guys out there. I know you're going to be like, well, this keyboard isn't for me. I'll talk about that again later on. But it doesn't have that chiclet feel at all. These keys feel really solid. They don't feel cheap the keys don't feel cheap at all. This doesn't feel like a cheaply made mechanical keyboard as well. It feels like it should be probably more of a budgety keyboard because of that. It doesn't have the premium build quality that you might expect, the steel on steel or aluminum on aluminum. But there are a lot of premium features I will have to mention that make this keyboard something that's really cool. Things like the gold-plated USBs, like again the fully braided cable here, the multiple functions and programmable keys. I mean, from what I understand, this has up to 300 programmable keys, or 300 5 programmable function profiles, and 300 programmable keys. That is a really wide range of programmable keys on a mechanical keyboard, not on a rubber dome, but on a mechanical keyboard. That's something that really steps up the game, and it's easily switched to. You have instant game mode over here. You have quick functionality to quickly move through those different profiles. Things I'm going to actually quickly show right now. The multicolor. From what I understand, there may be even more multicolors. I don't want to say that. I spoke very quickly with the actual manufacturer, I guess, or the person who's actually allowing me to review this, and he didn't mention anything about color wheel. I was told from someone else about a color wheel. I don't necessarily want to go into detail about that, but I will say this. The colors that you get now, they're very basic, and they're very suited for everyone's needs. You don't find too many desktops out there that have a lot of range, custom desktops at least, that have a lot of range in colors, but this touches based on all those, whether or not you're going for a company that's going for more of a Corsair look with the purples, or a company that's a little bit more generic with like Antec or Cooler Master with the blues. You get all of that. So very quickly I'll go through those colors. I'm going to go through the profiles as well. So this is the quick switch profile key, using the FN key or the function key. If you have a laptop, you should be familiar with this key already. The function key, and you can very quickly go from to profile 1, and now you can see I have this illuminated blue keyboard, which I think is really cool. You can go to profile 2, now you have this illuminated red or dark orange, whichever you'd like to call it, keyboard, which I think is also equally really cool. You have 3, which is white. There's a lot of people out there who really like their white keyboards. I will say this, there is a little bit of a backlight glare on this, or a little bit of a, I don't want to say a bounce around glare on this, so you kind of get this weird white. It's like this bluish, whitish, purple, blackish color. It's really cool, like almost like midnight white, I'm sorry. Which, I don't know how you'd say a midnight white, but yeah, like if you were to look at the moon, how it kind of has that bluish tint to it almost. That's the kind of white that you get here. So it's really interesting white. Green, you have a green color here, which is profile 4. Green is also not too common, but it's still a very common customizable color for custom gamers. And then you have a red or reddish, a yellowish orange, I should say. Like I said, for the red, I kind of gave it a dark orange save with it as well. This is kind of the same thing. It's kind of like, if you're looking at this at a certain angle, you kind of can see the level there of the orange and the yellow kind of counteracting each other. So it's definitely just a lighter mood than the red, while the red's a darker mood. So you could definitely interpret the color as being one or the other. But yeah, the color scheme is really nice. Also, there's multiple levels of these colors. You can dim it all the way down to 0. If you're more of a traditionalist and just don't want an illuminated keyboard, you can do that. You'll still have this illumination over here by the Tesoro logo, but it's a lot less of a standout color or standout illumination than having the rest of the keyboard illuminated. I also like to add, though, with illumination, when you dim it, it doesn't just dim these keys. There's also LEDs on the side here that also will get dimmed as you increase or decrease the brightness on the keyboard. Also, this is probably one of my favorite features of this, really kind of making it definitely a gaming keyboard. And this is something that you see on a lot of the rubber dome keyboards. Razer does it, Logitech does it, Cooler Master does it, Corsair I don't know if Corsair has done this. I'm not going to say if they've done it before, but the keyboards I've used, the Rubber Dome keyboards, gaming keyboards I've used that are really high-end, use this feature. The key functionality highlights on the keyboard as far as illumination. It's illuminating the primary function keys within the majority of games out there, whether it's first-person, MMORPG, or just a generic RPG, or real-time strategy game. These are majority of those games. These are the basic functions and basic function keys. You have WASD, your directional key, the Tesoro logo down here, or the spacebar, which is your jump key, your enter, which is the action key, or your standard arrow keys. And you also have, which is a nice addition. I really like this addition because a lot of illuminated keyboards don't do this. Since you do have this number pad on this side, which some keyboards don't have nowadays, you have the 8, 4, 6, and 2 key, and another action key, which is illuminated for another set of directional keys. But then again, all of these keys are programmable, so none of that's set in stone. You can have each of these keys do whatever functionality you would like it to do in the game. But if you're a really simple plug-and-play kind of guy, then you can do that and still get that fully functionality of, I don't want these other keys distracting me. I just want to play this game and I want to know what I need to push. You also have an enhanced version, or one step up from that. You can press the function key one more time. And now you have a few more illuminated function keys now. A few more keys that are meant to enhance the game, I should say. You now have the shift and control key, which is sprint, duck, toggle, whatever it may be, steady. There's multiple functions that you can have these be, but in a lot of different games, those are the basic ones. You have Alt, which again, shift, or sprint, duck, steady, which could be that one, those type of keys. You also have now tab and caps lock, which are usually the prime keys to get programmed, because of course they could be anything in the game, but they could be weapon change, reverse weapon change, or forward and back throughout the weapons. There's many functions that they can be, but you now have these highlighted if you're playing those type of games. I was calling this the MMO setup, but it's not really. It's more of just an enhanced version, because now you have these keys on the top as well. The 1 through 0 keys highlighted. In MMOs, these are normally your skill traits. And a first-person shooter, this is usually your weapons, or toggling through your weapons individually, or whatever function you may want them to be. Again, this is fully programmable, but you now have these highlighted up here, which is an additional to that, a very basic level. So yeah, my first impressions as far as do I like this keyboard, I really like this keyboard. I think it's really nice. It really complements my workspace very well. I have another gaming keyboard that I was using. I won't mention its name, but it is a Rubber Dome. I'm not going to say this too much, but I don't like mechanical keyboards. They just get annoying because of the noise. I like how they feel. I like their functionality, but their noise can get on my nerves. But I think this keyboard is nice enough that can be very easily overlooked for me. Even though I don't like that noise, I think it's a good keyboard. It's a good enough keyboard that I really wouldn't care about that noise. Very quickly before I go, I will do a quick close-up shot so you can kind of take a really good look at the keyboard. But yeah, good. It's really good, really solid. The only things I don't like about this keyboard, I don't like the function key. I think it would have been really nice to have the function specifics to be in a separate portion of the keyboard. I do understand that form factor is definitely a big thing, especially if you're shipping this from another country. But they're, again, going back to the Rubber Dome gaming keyboards, the really high-end ones usually specialize in that. They had tons of switches and all these type of buttons that allowed you to very quickly change and do specific things instead of having one button do two functions. I think the one button doing two functions very quickly turns into accidents where you're pushing a button or not pushing a button and accidentally push another button. There's keyboards out there now that have that issue where function key will be a power button or a reset or a sleep button, and you can very accidentally or very easily accidentally click those keys in combination, and before you know it, have a shutdown system or a sleeping system while you're doing something important. Of course, there's nothing that dramatic on this keyboard, but for me, I'm definitely a music guy, and I like to adjust my music volume, change through songs, and that type of thing, and the function key, as well in combination with another set of keys, does that. And so a lot of times I will do that very quickly on the run, and I won't get the action I'm expecting to get. I'll just push the volume key and forget to press FN and not get the volume control. We'll get totally different operations, or push FN and push the volume control while in a game or something like that, and before I know it, have volume reducing and not the action I expected in the game. But that could just be getting used to the keyboard and not something that a lot of people care about. So I'm going to get ready to end this video. I'm going to just do a quick rundown of some of the other specifications, some of the other things that I didn't mention. There are 2 headphone jacks up here for those audio guys who want the closer range audio, not having to plug your speakers or headphones into your desktop, but just want to quickly plug them into your keyboard. Or I should say this is a hub over here, because it's also 2 USB 2.0s, very standard on a lot of keyboards nowadays, but it's very useful when you want something a little bit closer to you. There's also supplemental power. There is an additional power jack back here, which allows for an additional 5 to 2.5. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It's 5 volts, 2.5 amps power here, which means you can plug an external hard drive into here and be able to have power, or have that drive powered, and you'll be able to access that drive. Let's see here. It's backwards compatible and compatible with Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8. For those Mac guys out there, I'm sorry. Maybe in the future there may be some Mac software to allow you to use this keyboard fully functional, but not at this time. Same with you Linux guys and Android guys. This may not be the best choice for you as far as keyboards. Again, the keyboard, the end tips of all these keyboard connectors are all gold plated. There's forward application on the line. I won't talk too much about the software. I will say the software definitely needs some work. I was told about some specific features I was able to do on the software, but the software is too much going on and not enough very quick understandings. The buttons are very easy to read and very easily noticeable, but there may be some other little things on here that I'm not able to click on. I just don't know about that. Like I said, fully programmable keys, macro settings. There's some small macro settings over here, some full like I said, the settings over there, which are really cool. Thumb keys, fast switch to setting the macros. Again, that's these up here. Sync program functionality, which means you can use different applications to have it sync with this keyboard. That's very cool. There's a lot of keyboards out here doing that, but only some doing it well, like this keyboard. Switchable USB 6N key, like I said before, the function key. Gaming grade mechanical keyboard switches. Again, this is fully mechanical, and the responsiveness is there, no ghosting. Gaming grade 500 million key actions, so it's not going to wear out basically. And again, 6 LED levels. So those are just some quick notes that I want to make. You can go to the website, check out this keyboard, get more details if you like. But yeah, this is that keyboard. I'm going to be doing the full review a little bit later on. Oh yeah, let me very quickly get that close-up shot for everybody. So you can take a quick look. Very nice keyboard. I like it a lot. The video is running a little bit long. Sorry for those who want to get this over with quickly, but I just wanted to give a quick look at the final look at the keyboard. Illuminate the keyboard. The illuminations are also on the side, both sides. Really nice. And we'll take a look at the back real quick. Sorry for those people who don't like being upside down, but you're going to have to be upside down for this one. Very nice set. Again, that braided cable I'll show real fast. Really thick braided cable. Really nice thick braided cable. So yeah, that's the keyboard I'm going to be checking out through this weekend. Digging it. Well, I've already checked it out quite a bit, but I'm going to be really loving it and messing with some games. And yeah, take a look for that video when it gets uploaded. For now, this is this is just a really cool keyboard.